I am Conor Cummins. I'm 37, soon to be 38, and I'm from Balafin, Isle of Man. I was born in TT week in 1986, born into motorbikes. Dad raced, still races. I have relatives who race still as well, so very much born into motorcycle racing and just motorcycle in general really. So I didn't really have any other option than like motorbikes. Started racing motocross when I was 4. Basically that was my childhood, just basically riding motocross, playing out my bicycle with my mates in the cul-de-sac or whatever. And then I made the move over to tarmac racing when I was 13, going across the water. And yeah, just putting in my time over there and building up knowledge, experience. Fast forward to 2024, we're going to be lining up for the TT again. My main field is pure road racing. That's what I do, you know. I also do short circuit racing in the UK, do some British Championship stuff. And that is so competitive. It's been said before, it's the most competitive domestic series in the world. Obviously it's at British level, there's World Championship, which is obviously where everyone would love to get to. It's somewhere I haven't got to. But that was the dream back when I started road racing. I thought, you know, you go for big plans of having world domination and all this sort of stuff, but you suddenly progress through doing short circuit racing. You find out where you're at really, and I've found my niche, if you like, if I can say that, with pure road racing. The R6 Cup for me was 2004, 2005. It was a series made up of everyone was on the same bike. It was an R6 Yamaha.
When you get those production-based classes that all the riders are sharing the same bike or using the same machine, it's a brilliant way of really highlighting a rider's ability, because you're not leaning so much on a machine being advantageous over another. It really is just, you know, all those riders on a very level playing field, if you like.
And that was basically just building my experience up on circuits. And, you know, on the Isle of Man we've only got one track, aside from TT, which is Derby Motordrome, which is developed over the years. But if you're gonna try and progress, you have to get off the Isle of Man. It's as simple as that. You have to go and take in the big tracks across the water, Alton Park, Cadwell Park, Brands Hatch, etc., etc., just to get that experience, to try and, you know, be the best you can be. At the end of 2005, that was my R6 Cup endeavours. That was it, done. I wasn't doing that again. The intention was to move up into the National Superstock Championship, which is 1000cc motorcycles in near showroom spec, sort of playing field, if you like. So my intention was to do the National Superstock Championship, but in order to do that, you need a big budget. It has to be a full-on effort. You can't do it half-heartedly. You have to commit yourself, and I'm not going to do things like that. So I needed a budget to do things properly, to have a proper go at the championship. Knowing that it was going to be like a building process, I'd have to maybe do 2 or 3 years in that championship, because I was moving up to 1000cc from a 600. Never really done that before. But I soon found that I just could not gather the funds to do that properly.
Like everything else in the world, racing is getting more and more expensive. So if you don't have a budget or some backing through sponsorship, you know, it's really, really difficult when you're only letting your results do the talking.
In 04, I went over to the Northwest 200 to watch. It's the first big international road race of the year for us, and it's coming up very soon. And I sat in the hedges and I thought, I won't mind a go at this. Fast forward to winter time, 05, 06, I thought, right, here's my chance. I'll go and do the Northwest 200. Once that ball was rolling, in my head, I thought, why don't I just do the TT as well? I might as well just have a go at the TT. Through doing circuit racing, there was no real desire to do pure road racing. Never really, that is going to be in my plan. That's what I'm going to do. I think just the change in circumstance made me realise I wouldn't mind having a go at it. I thought, now's the time, changing scenery, do something different challenge, let's have a look at it. And that's where the pure roads thing came in, and not look back. People, I would say, probably before me had took the route of going down the Manx Grand Prix. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. You know, you make your own mind up. But for me, I didn't want to have any additional pressure of racing the TT course. And I just thought the best environment to put myself into was the TT, because I didn't exist pretty much. It was just ride round. That was my approach. So that's why I went down that, but people didn't like it because I took a different route. But it was my decision, and I'm glad I made it.
So your best finish that year was P17 in the senior race.
Yes.
How did it feel scoring a top 20 finish in your first ever TT?
It felt great, getting the top 20. The big thing for me was, and only through, I could have done a 100-mile-an-hour lap and I'd have been over the moon, because there's nothing wrong with doing a 100-mile-an-hour lap around a TT course. To come away with a top 20 and doing a 120-mile-an-hour lap in my newcomer year, I was delighted. I couldn't have asked for any more. I was well happy. I had a shocking 2008 TT. It was abysmal. And it was a Southern 100 in 08. I rode for McAdoo. And that, even at that point, it was like, well, let's just see how this goes, because the McAdoo family they've put so much into road racing over the years. A brilliant family, and they could have easily said, "Oh, it's not for us," after the Southern, but thankfully it went okay. And then it snowballed after that. 09, they signed me for the year, and I thought, well, let's just see how this goes, and it was amazing.
And your first TT podium came that year. What was going through your mind as you crossed the start finish?
Yeah, it was a super sport race. It was very, very special, that, for me, because it was the first podium on the TT course, and it was out of this world for me. You strive to get a result. Everyone wants to win a race. I still want to win races, but to get my first TT podium is a significant sort of step for anyone wanting to make the ultimate step, which is to win. And that was the start of it for me, and that really drove me on. It was big enough for me, you know, and yeah, I think we finished second in the senior later in the week.
And then the following year, in 2010, very much a continuation of your great form from the year before, but this run of form suffered an unfortunate end with your senior crash at the veranda. Could you tell me about that race?
I can tell you very little about that race because I don't remember a great deal about it, but I led the first superbike race by 23 seconds, and bike packed in, so I retired.
Oh, it's definitely slowed down.
He's looking. Oh
Yeah.
no, that's him. He's out.
It looks
what
terminal
a
to
shame.
me.
What a shame.
We're leading nicely into the senior TT, and unfortunately we're lying third in the race, which is strong enough, but it went belly up, unfortunately. But I don't really remember an awful lot about it. It's just one of those things that unfortunately happens in our sport, and I had some serious injuries. 5 fractured vertebrae in my back. There was 3 unstable, I think it was, and I had 2 metal rods inserted in my spine, which were fixed with 12 screws. So that's still there today. Shattered humerus bone on my left there, which basically had a nerve palsy, so I couldn't do that or that with my hand and fingers. I had a dislocated knee, which needed to be rebuilt with tendons and ligaments and whatnot, because everything was just broken. It was a really bad injury, and a fractured pelvis. So there was enough going on, but yeah, that was my injury list. There was a thought that I might not ever race again, but that was going to be limited by my physical condition, not my head. You know, I was very much wanting to get back racing, but my physical condition at the time was bad, you know, so I couldn't really see a way out of it. The rehab process was very tough, but the gains started to become very apparent. So yeah, and I think that was the turning point for me, was when I could actually lift my hand and whip my fingers properly, because that was a bit of an unknown. It was like that was holding the job up, really, you know. So that was all plated back up and put back together, my arm, but yeah, it just took the longest, in my opinion.
And 2014 came the time that you signed for Factory Honda
Yeah.
for that year's racing season.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when you received that offer?
I thought, brilliant opportunity. You look at the track record of Honda on the whole, everyone wants to race for Honda.
Yeah, getting the opportunity to ride for Factory Honda is, yeah, it's incredible. It's something I was fortunate enough to do in World Endurance, not at the TT. They've got the results on the board, haven't they? Especially with John McGuinness and plenty of other riders before him, and there's reason for that. They know how to go racing, they know how to win races. You know, it's not a guaranteed result, but a huge feather in your cap as a rider, to have your talent recognised and get that opportunity.
We were back on the TT podium that year, so that was a major step forward for me. Looking back from when I was on a hospital bed to being back on the TT podium was a major step forward. So we're back to where I should be.
You then stayed with Honda for 2 years before making a move to Paget's. Could you tell me about the end of your Honda deal?
I was let go by Honda. Yeah, it was a job at the end of the day, and coincidentally a job that I love doing. So relationships come to an end and you have to move on, and I was, yeah, as I say, my agreement wasn't renewed for that year. During the 16 of TT though, that was when I started riding for Clive and the Paget's team. I was on their super stock and super sport bike for TT, whilst riding the official Honda superbike. And Clive gave me a golden opportunity there, and I'm extremely grateful for that and everything he's done ever since. So into 17, I had no superbike ride, and Clive again put a package on the table for me, and I was very happy to take it, and I grabbed it with both hands.
2018 marked your return to the podium after 4 years, this time with Paget's and with the number 1 on your bike. Is there a reason behind you choosing number 1 that year?
I just wanted to give it a go, really. I felt as though I was fast enough. I thought, let's try it with a clear road in front of you as opposed to try to catch someone.
I didn't want to be number 1 because I didn't want to be the first bike on road. I've seen they come back with more bugs, but I've been number 2. You're the rabbit getting chased by the greyhounds, if you like. To me, seeing Conor go off at number 1 just confirms his level of mental strength. He doesn't seem to be fazed by much. Don't know what's going on inside those calm eyes, but from the outside looking in, there seems to be this deep level of contentment and calmness with Conor, which comes with just inner confidence.
I asked if I could go number 1, and I was given number 1. There was no real major science to it. It was just see if that makes a difference to the end result. But we were on the podium, which I was happy enough for that. The thing is, a TT, you just don't know what's going to happen from one year to the next. I gave it my all, but we couldn't come away with a win, unfortunately. But we've kept trying.
We saw the return of the TT in 2022 after 2 years of disruption thanks to COVID-19.
Yeah.
How happy were you to make a return to racing around the mountain course after that time away?
I was the same as everyone, really. Was happy as anything just to be racing around the best track in the world. We'd had the layoff with COVID for very good reason, obviously, but it was great to see a return to the mountain course and what the event brings to the island in terms of the whole vibe of the event alone is incredible. Everyone sort of feeds off it. It's the best place to be.
Unfortunately, your 2023 TT campaign was hurt by illness.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about what happened there?
Yeah, basically I'd had 3 days of practice, so I got up to closer play Wednesday. I didn't necessarily feel unwell at that stage. I knew there was something up with the way I was feeling. I wasn't sick, but my strength level was way off. I felt like my grip was really weak. I felt like I had no strength in my forearms. I had to park it, I couldn't ride it. I can't go out on that. Woke up Thursday morning, vomiting. It was just horrendous what was going on. I felt absolutely awful. And then I spent the whole day, because you think, oh, I'm gonna get better. Straight away, you just like, I'm gonna get myself better. So I was trying to rest up and it just wasn't happening. Thursday morning, I had to go to hospital and I was on a drip in hospital, trying to get all sorts of fluids in me. So the TT medical team and everyone at Nobles were just absolutely phenomenal. Can't speak highly of those guys enough, you know, they're brilliant. So they looked after me and they advised, you know, on a daily basis, just, you know, rest, fluids, try and eat, etc. And then I managed to race the second Superstock race, but strength level was just, I just couldn't. I was fit enough for one lap, and you're only talking a 3-lap race in the Superstock. So I just couldn't come up with the goods.
So far you've scored 12 podiums at the TT. Are you satisfied with this, or are you always searching for more?
Not satisfied at all. I want to win, that's why I'm doing it. Until my name's on that trophy, or on any of those trophies, I'm not happy, I'm not content.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Conor has the ability, both physically and mentally, to win an Isle of Man TT race. It's cruel, to be honest, that he hasn't as yet for some of the brilliant results he's put in, some of the outright lap speed. Sometimes it can be luck, it can go with you, it can go against you. It is a numbers game, surely, if he keeps putting in these results and this performance, you know, he will get a win.
Every racer that you'll talk to is probably the same. They want more, you always want more. That's what I want, so I'll keep trying.
Could you tell me about how you and your wife Danielle met?
So I met Danielle, I was out with friends and we bumped into each other in a nightclub and that was it. She didn't really know anything about it. In fact, she didn't know anything about it, but she's a clever woman and, you know, she understood very quickly anyway. She's the backbone of our family. You know, she's there all the time. She's been there, rough, smooth, all the rest of it. We met years ago and she's been the backbone of everything I've done since, whether that be business, racing. She's just there, she's just an amazing woman. We're very blessed to have 2 amazing little daughters, so yeah, hope they show no interest in motorbikes.
Has your mentality towards racing changed since you've had children?
Not really. I've got added responsibility in my life that I need to make sure that I protect as best I possibly can. And the way I do that is I've always tried to keep myself fit. I see my take on it is if I know I've done everything, fitness-wise, preparation-wise, you're limiting the potential risk, you know what I mean? So I work. I think it's pretty fair to say I work harder now that I've got a family.
Conor might brush that off with bravado, as if a lot of racers do, but I have more respect for the riders in the paddock with children. I do. I look in their faces before a race, whether it be Conor, John McGuinness, James Hillier. You look and you think, you know, when you're walking up to that start line, when your kids are coming up and giving you a hug before you head out, or maybe they're not even there, they've sent you a message or you're chatting to them on the phone, or as a rider, as much as, you know, I know when I flipped the visor down, I thought of nothing but that next section, of course. But before I flip that visor down, there's a lot of things run through your mind. And when you've got children, it's bloody tough.
If I learned anything from my 2010 smash, was it can be over very, very quickly with, for example, I was led on my hospital bed. I'm thinking, what am I going to do now? I don't know how I'm going to earn money. I've got no qualifications. All I had was experience racing motorbikes. And that's at that point where the whole business ideas in my head started to sort of gather up, if you like. So I started to have interest in businesses. which is a bit strange. Nothing specific, I just switched my brain a little bit. And it just got me thinking I've got to have something else for a long-term plan, really. So coffee was an aid, if you like, in my recovery, which I found as I was going along. I was on all sorts of medication to try and numb pain, etc. And coffee was a great help. I think that's where the light bulb started to come on about coffee, and it's amazing. I did a load of research and I wouldn't mind getting into doing events with coffee. How can I do that? Looked at various units, like vehicles, and then I went to Australia for a race at Phillip Island, and the whole idea with coffee was totally reignited because I could just see the coffee culture in Australia is massive.
That's so interesting to hear, and it really is a coffee culture here. It blows me away, actually. But because we're all just on the other side of the world. People probably don't look at us as being the most cultured race down here. I don't know, but it's we really love our good coffee, and it wouldn't be easy here to impress people with coffee because the competition is deep. I love my coffee, and I have it often. Connor's when I've been at the TT, especially when he's got the stand there in the paddock. It's been brilliant in past years to be able to go up and grab a brew off him if you like.
That's when the whole thing came to light again, and I went to the Irish motorcycle show and saw another unit in there. Got talking to the owner. It was they had a Citroen HY. I just got talking with him, and he pointed me in the direction of, I know where there's a unit for sale, and that's that down there. So that was back. That's Piaggio down there. That's when I went over to Northern Ireland and I bought it. Got it shipped into Ramsey, and literally went from there. And so I went and started doing events. I did a marketing course with DEFA, just to understand marketing, and just the whole thing just snowballed. The Douglas depot came around just by, I needed it. I needed to have a bigger premises because we're starting to stock more. I went from doing events to then supplying machines to, it was like one machine going out to one customer. I needed coffee. The whole business started to grow that way, and I needed more space to stock more stock. And the room that I had just wasn't keeping up, so we needed to move in. And fortunately, I know the landlord, and he said, I've got this unit available, do you want it? So that's why we are where we are. The Conrad's coffee shop came around just through, I wanted to do it. It sort of felt like the next sort of venture to try, because we'd grown since 2015 to being at that point on the road in 18, thinking I've been supplying businesses, and I could see the hospitality sector on the island was quite strong. And me being in business, I thought I was always looking for another avenue. So I thought, well, why don't I just start a coffee shop myself? I've got all the machines, got all the equipment. I can kit it out, no problem at all. And that's the unit in Ramsey became available. Yeah, we converted it from an empty opticians to a proper coffee shop. It was ace.
And you continued building upon Conrad's foundations before you purchased the lease for the boathouse in Morwick Park just before the pandemic.
It's almost like best guess. You can have all the facts and figures all lined up, everything, but you just don't know. You can't say 100% it's going to be amazing. I suppose that was the leap of faith, if you like, that I had to take. And I thought I want to do something different that's not really there at the minute. There wasn't like a proper pizzeria, but yeah, everything was all lined up, ready to rock and roll, and COVID came along, and it really, really kicked everyone in the backside. Not just me, dude. Everyone's business, everyone's personal life is massively affected. There was lots of bumps in the road, unfortunately, with that site and my other site, which is the coffee shop. It was just a real tough time for everyone. And I still think we're seeing the effects of it. We couldn't make the business work, unfortunately. And we really dug deep to make it work, you know. and we just had to like put a line in the sand and just go, right, we can't continue, unfortunately. And we did genuinely try our best. Like, you know, these things happen. You've just got to make hard decisions at times, and that's just life.
Your coffee shop also was forced to close later on in the year.
Yeah.
Was that for a similar reason?
I was constantly evaluating everything, and I've got some fantastic people around me who help me sometimes understand stuff, really. And it was a decision that I didn't take lightly. It was a tough one, but again, it needed to be done. The next thing for Coffee Man is we're doing a rebrand, and there's some really cool stuff going to happen along with that rebrand. It's our next step, put it that way, to being the best coffee supplier on the Isle of Man.